Hello and welcome to yet another very interesting class session with Packet Tracer Labs, okay, activities. In the last class, we were able to look at how to configure a VLAN and how to configure, assign ports to that particular VLAN. All right, today we are going to be configuring trunk links, okay, trunk links. If this is the first time you are joining this channel, do well to subscribe and so that you can get notification on the next videos, the labs, okay? So how do you then create a trunk? You know, a trunk carries VLAN information. From the topology, you can see here, I have a switch here, I have another switch here, I have another switch here. So I have 3 switches. I have systems here that belongs to different VLANs. So you see PC1 belonging to VLAN 10, PC2 belonging to VLAN 20, PC3 belonging to VLAN 30. Now, on the other side of the topology, you can also see PC4 belonging to VLAN 10, PC5 belonging to VLAN 20, and 30 for PC6. So if PC VLAN 10 here on PC1 wants to reach out to PC4 here, which is in the same VLAN with it, how will it able to move? This switch here, we need to configure it as trunk. The ports here between switch 2 here and switch 1 as trunk, and between switch 2 and switch 3 here, we need to configure it as trunk. However, we have the instruction on how we're going to go about it by this right-hand side on the table. So you can see the table. This is the table for each of the PCs and the VLANs that they belong and the switch ports that they belong. The objective of this is to verify the VLANs, and then part 2 is to configure the trunk, okay? The background says trunk are required to pass VLAN information between switches. A port on a switch is either an access port or a trunk port. Access ports can carry traffic from a specific VLAN assigned to that port. A trunk port by default is a member of all VLANs. Therefore, it carries traffic for all VLANs. So this activity we're going to do actually focuses on creating these trunk ports and assigning them to a native VLAN other than the default, okay? All right, to do that, let us first of all verify the VLAN information, okay? So on switch 1, issue the command that will display all the VLANs configured. There should be 10 VLANs in total. Notice that all 26 access ports on the switch are assigned to VLAN 1. Okay, so I come to switch 1. This is switch 1. I click it. Let me bring this guy this way. And then user mode, let me see, enable. Take me to privilege mode. Then I say show VLAN. And extend this. Good. So I have, this is one VLAN. Can you see this value 10? That's 2, 3, 4. This VLAN 30, VLAN 88, VLAN 99. Then there are other default VLANs that are in the switch. Okay. Now they say we should note all these ports are on this VLAN 1 by default. All right. By default, they are all in VLAN 1. So that's what they want us to know. Okay. Now, additionally, it says on switch 2 and switch 3, display and verify that all VLANs are configured and assigned to the correct switch ports according to the access table. All right, so let me come here to switch 2. That's switch 2. Table. Show VLAN. Okay, so you can see port 6 is on VLAN 30. Port 18 is on VLAN 20, students VLAN, and then port VLAN 10 is assigned to port 11, all right? Every other port still remains on the default VLAN, okay? So I think that is the same thing we also have on switch 3. So if I go to switch 3, show VLAN, okay? So you see, it's the same thing that we've noticed. All right, they've been assigned to the ports. Very good. Now, step 2 says verify loss of connectivity between PCs on the same network. Ping between hosts on the same VLAN on different switches. Although PC1 and PC4 are on the same network, they cannot ping each other. This is because ports connecting to the switches assigned to VLAN 1 by default. So what we are saying is that this is port 1, this is PC1 is on VLAN 10, this is PC4 is on VLAN 10. Ideally, they should be able to talk to each other. So we're saying that they should, because they have not been configured very well, let us see what we can get. So if I open PC1 here, and I want to ping PC4, which is on the same VLAN as PC1, what is the IP address for PC4? Look at it, 172.117.10.24. So I say ping 172.117.10.24. See, I am unable to reach out to them because there's a problem, okay? The VLAN configuration or the trunk link has not been established. So VLAN information are unable to move across. So from this particular switch, it's not able to get across here, and from here, it's not able to get across here. That's the problem, okay? So for us to solve that, let us configure trunk, right? So on switch 1, use VLAN 99 as the native VLAN. All right, so how do we do that? So configure 0 gigabit 01 and 02 interfaces on S1 for trunking. So this one and this one. So I can use the interface range to configure multiple interfaces at the same time. Okay, so I'll just come here, configure terminal, interface range, then G0/1 to 2. So the two interfaces. Then it says switch port mode is what? Trunk. Right? Switch port mode is trunk. Now, that means we have changed the port from access port to trunk. It can now carry VLAN information. Now, it says configure VLAN 99 as the native VLAN for gigabit 01 and 2 interfaces on switch 1. Okay. Then we say switch port trunk native VLAN 99. Okay. So, see switch port trunk native VLAN 99. Right? Good. So the trunk ports takes about a short time to become active due to spanning tree protocol. All right. And that is why you see them, they are now active. Those are the notification. Okay. So the next thing now is verify. Where is it? It says verify trunking is enabled on switch 2 and switch 3. Okay, how do you verify that trunking is enabled on switch 2 and 3? See, on switch 2 and S3, issue the show interface trunk commands to confirm that DTP has been successfully negotiated. Okay, so let me go to switch 2 and switch 3. Is this thing going? Right, switch 2. Right, so can you see it's getting the notification? So I'll say show interface trunk. Okay, let's see what are we getting here. It's telling us that gigabit port 0/1 mode auto 802.1 trunking. You see 802.1, and it's giving us the native VLAN as VLAN 1. I think that is where we are having a problem. So we need to take it to be correct. Then ports gigabit 0, 1. The VLANs allowed, these are all the VLANs that have been allowed. Okay, but see the notification I'm getting, native VLAN mismatch, native VLAN. Why is it mismatch? You see, and it's saying that on gigabit 0, 1, VLAN 1 to VLAN 99. Can you see? So this one is 1, while the other, this VLAN is 99. Okay, so configure VLAN 99 as the native VLAN for the appropriate interfaces on switch 2, right? So just as we did for switch 1, we use this command, switch port trunk native VLAN 99. Are we together? But you have to enter into that particular interface first, right? So that's the interface that we want to enter. What interface is that? Gigabit 0/1. Okay. So configure terminal, interface gigabit 0/1, switch port trunk, native VLAN 99. Right. So now, did you see what it's saying? Unblocking gigabit this VLAN 1. Consistency restored. And you see, blocking this, the consistency has been what? Restored. So which means we are okay in that. Okay, then we go to the next switch, which is switch 3. All right, you see this one is still having its mismatch. Okay, then I configure terminal. Then we enter the interface first, right? Which interface is having the problem? Let's look at it. Okay, it's gigabit Ethernet 0/2. See? Okay, so interface gigabit 0/2, switch port trunk, native VLAN 99. Right, so you see, unblocking port consistency restored. Okay, so which means we're good. That way we can verify. Okay, so initially we were able to ping. All right, so let's check if we can be. You see, we tried to ping, we didn't get. So now let's give it a try. We should be able to get a response. Hallelujah. Can you see? So we're able to get a response. Okay, so that is how to configure your trunk on your switch. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you in the next class. Have a nice day.